So who wants to talk about WWE Fastlane 2019? Let's get this crap over with. I guess, to be fair, it wasn't all bad. There were a couple of okay matches on the card. A couple of interesting things happened. But again, as I talked about in the preview video, this felt like a show we could largely have done without. This felt like stuff you could have accomplished on Raws and SmackDowns and not had to sit there and waste 3+ hours of everybody's damn time on a freaking Sunday. That's just me, though. You got off to a good start. Shane McMahon and The Miz taking on the Usos. The match was good, the type of match you'd like to see as the opener for a pay-per-view. Gets the people involved, gets the people into it right away. This whole thing about The Miz seeking his dad's approval is kind of weird because Mr. Miz, what the hell is he? Who the hell is he? Where his son is a TV star worth millions. But the ironic thing is as weird and stupid as that sounds, it so perfectly fits who we are as a society. So many people look to their parents for their support and then later on their acceptance, their approval. And in a lot of cases, fuck your parents. Because the reality is, in many cases, they either got where they were because of benefits and breaks that their generation ruined for future generations like ours, or your parents dropped out of high school, were boning in the back of Studebakers or Cadillacs when they were 16, got married 8 months later and gave birth to a 16-pound kid. Just saying, we would seek approval from people like that, where you've got college degrees and all of this other stuff. So it makes perfect sense, as weird and dumb as it seems. The match is fine. The Usos win, which isn't a surprise. You can feel it coming. I think everybody knew that this was the match, this was the moment where somebody was going to turn. And I was wondering if they were going to do the right thing here and either turn Shane McMahon or turn Miz's dad along with Shane McMahon. Or were they going to turn The Miz? I really didn't know. You could have went with the Miz heel turn, and Shane most certainly works as a sympathetic figure, that's for sure. But the fact that they went in the other direction, and they had Shane McMahon be the one to be the heel. The one thing I will say about Shane is, as reckless and kind of sloppy as he can be sometimes, is when he attacks somebody like The Miz from behind, you believe it. Because he's potatoing people all over the place. As fake as his lucky punches look, when he does something like that, that shit looks real. Because the dude doesn't have much of a filter. He doesn't have much self-control. He just gets caught up in the moment, and he potatoes people. That's what Shane McMahon does. But there's a benefit to that, is that situations like this, it can really help sell the moment. It can actually make it look really, really real. The only thing I questioned as this was going on was why Mrs. Dad didn't jump the barricade earlier, because ultimately you're watching your son get his ass kicked. You would think that would provoke you enough to want to go over there and try and fuck the dude up, or at least get fucked up in defense of your son. The only other thing I felt like could have put this moment really over the top, since you were in Miz's hometown of Cleveland, and what a great place to do this, to guarantee when you're presenting Miz as this hometown hero, this real babyface, is just sit there and have Shane McMahon turn on him there. People are going to hate all over Shane for this. That's great. The only thing would have been better is if Shane McMahon would have ripped off his baseball jersey and revealed a Ray Lewis number 52 Baltimore Ravens jersey. I promise you, he would have killed that crowd. Too soon? Nah. You can bury that joke with Ray Lewis's missing white suit. Anyways, the opener and everything involved with it, I absolutely loved. And then we got to the next match. And you asked the question, who's ready for Asuka? Apparently nobody is. This match with Mandy Rose is lame. For this person that supposedly had so much momentum a year plus ago, whatever the hell it was, Asuka doesn't matter. This title that she has doesn't matter. And whatever Mania match she has ultimately will not matter. And I'm done talking about it. Next up was The Bar taking on Kofi Kingston in a we're going to fuck with the crowd moment here. And I love every minute of it. I love every single minute of it. If you don't need to go there yet, don't. Don't give the people what they want right now. Don't give them a Kofi Kingston title match. Make it a triple threat at Fastlane. There's no reason to do it here. There's no reason to do it now. There's just no reason. Be patient. Just wait. Just wait. I know some people are going to be like, I'm supposed to take this guy seriously as a championship contender when he's getting beat the fuck down by two dudes. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he was getting beat down by two dudes. And let's be realistic. Sometimes when it comes to WrestleMania or wrestling in general, and I'm guilty of this too, is we talk about believability and give me a fucking break. You know, sometimes it's just like in general, would a 200-pound dude beat up a 400-pound dude? Signs point to probably not more often than not. But yet in the WWE, that shit can happen on a consistent basis. So let's not always talk about believability and realism here, even though it's nice to have it. I understand that. I did see some people talking about on social media, they were at a loss as to why Vince all of a sudden is against Kofi Kingston, and they're not really explaining it, and they should be. If at this moment in time, based off of the history of WWE and all your years of watching WWE, if you do not understand why Vince McMahon and that character would have a problem, the man too sometimes, with a Kofi Kingston getting a WWE championship shot, the bottom line is you're fucking stupid. How dumb can you be? And don't worry, peeps. Kofi Mania will have its day. I promise you. I promise you. And when he does, it's going to feel so good. But that time is not here. That moment is not now. But it will happen, and justice will be served. We'd much rather have Kofi Mania run wild all over WrestleMania. Anyways. The Revival won that fucking tag match, and who cares? Moving on. United States Championship match was a pleasant surprise. And I expected one or two matches on this card to kind of be a pleasant surprise. I still really wish they would have kept R-Truth as United States Champion and could have built up towards a match with him and Cena at WrestleMania. There would have been a lot of comic relief value there to me. I'm sorry, there just would have been. But, like I said, this match was a nice surprise put in the middle of the show. Bayley and Sasha, the boss and hug connection, whatever the fuck they call them. So lame and so stupid. This is still a thing! Oh my god, this is still a thing! They beat fucking Nia and Tamina, and who really cares? The most important thing after this is Beth Phoenix coming out to the rescue from the commentary booth and looking really badass, staring Tamina straight down. And then you get the beat down on Beth Phoenix, and here comes Natalya. And surely you're setting up to some multi-team tag match at WrestleMania. And just when you saw Beth Phoenix, there was like this feeling, you're like, ooh, she matters. Ooh, this feels kind of big. Ooh, this kind of clicks and makes sense. I'm here for that. I'm fine for that. Did anybody ever check on her phone, by the way? I'm just wondering. And then we get to the WWE Championship match. A triple threat. But it's going to be Mustafa Ali. So there'll be some fucks who think that this guy is ready for a main event spot. We're all giggly tits and jacking dicks on this one. I don't know, blue fuck is wrong with people. Mustafa Ali is a main event player. Like, you must think everybody's a main event player if you're that stupid. The match itself was fine. I mean, I remember it happened. I remember Daniel Bryan won. I remember Eric Rowan slammed, Mustafa Ali down after the match. And honestly, that's all I really remember. Now, granted, I'm recording this on a early Tuesday evening before SmackDown, so a couple of days, getting older, don't remember as much sometimes, but that's really all I remember about it. It happened. Daniel Bryan won. Cool, let's keep it moving to WrestleMania. The match that some might have thought was going to main event this show, but thankfully perhaps ultimately didn't, was Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. If Becky Lynch wins, she gets her ticket punched to WrestleMania. You had three possible scenarios of what you could do. Becky Lynch could beat Charlotte straight up clean, which if she does that, kind of defeats the purpose of having Charlotte Flair in that match, which in general, there still is no purpose for Charlotte Flair other than that in that match other than her doing the job at Mania. Second option is to have Ronda Rousey come out and attack Becky Lynch, so that way Becky Lynch wins by disqualification, and she gets put into the match at WrestleMania, which you would say, why would you want to beat two people instead of one? But you're really trying to sell yourself as a badass, and you have more history and more beef with Becky Lynch. You want to get your hands on her at WrestleMania. That can make sense, as ridiculous as that may seem. Or option three is you would have had Becky Lynch lose the match and screw her over and really sell the fact that she might not actually be in that match at WrestleMania. We got option two, This match really wasn't much, and then you got to that moment where Ronda Rousey does come out and ultimately attacks Becky Lynch. Crowd's kind of flat for a minute, kind of disappointed, kind of like, what the fuck's going on here? Then the realization comes in, oh, that's what this actually means. It's a good thing this didn't main event, because it was met with kind of a bit of a collective thud by the crowd, and I understand. Like, you probably are expecting more, and this was all you were going to get. So it was wise of the WWE to not put this in the final spot on this card. The last spot on the card, the main event, went to the Shield in their last ride together. The crew's back together one more time. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, taking on Team Clusterfuck. This is exactly what you thought it would be. A glorified Raw main event 6-man tag with some really good action and some high-hitting spots. And fucking Roman Reigns was ultimately going to get the pinfall. I mean, again, we're not talking about a Big Four pay-per-view here. We're talking about Roman Reigns' first pay-per-view match back after beating leukemia. So while this might not have been the direction that I would have went, I totally understand why the WWE went there. It made sense for this match ultimately to main event this show because it gave everybody kind of that happy go-home feeling that Vince loves to give the fans sometimes. The match really doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but it didn't necessarily have to. It was more about the Shield, nostalgia, one last time, until the next time, of course. But one last ride together, and Roman Reigns' triumphant return back from battling leukemia. So there's that. But when I look at this show again, like I thought it was going to be, mostly a filler show. Some of the matches were just duds because I didn't care about them, and a lot of you didn't care about them, and they weren't good, let's be honest. A couple of matches that were good in here. Couple of somewhat memorable things, but nothing that really is going to grab you by the cunt or the cock that you'll remember probably 6 months, let alone 3 months from now. It just was what it was. And like I said, largely a show that all of us could have done without.